Welcome to Inside Bremerton. This is the City of Bremerton's video newsletter, focusing on issues and topics important to its citizens. We're at the wastewater treatment plant in Bremerton. We were here a couple years ago getting a tour and looking at all their facilities. At that time, they were under construction and upgrading some equipment and adding some things to the treatment plant. So we're going to go talk to Pat Coxon and see what they've done in the last couple of years. Stay with us.
Hi, Shar.
Hi, Pat. Good to be back with you. It's been a couple years since we visited. You were going to share with us a few improvements that were made at the treatment plant. Let's start with this beauty right here.
Okay. This is our main plant emergency generator.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. It's a 1.5 megawatt, 1,500 kilowatts.
How long does that, if the power goes out, how long will this generator last on this equipment?
It will last for 24 hours, straight fire burn.
Straight. And that was tested, you said, a couple of years ago when we had that huge ice storm.
Right before Thanksgiving. I think that was 2010. We were without power for 4 days, four days straight, and we were filling it every 12 hours approximately at a half a tank.
And it is powered by diesel.
Correct.
And the tank is underneath here.
No, actually the generator itself sitting inside this building is the tank. It's a belly tank, so it just lays right, so it's running right about here.
Very cool.
Yep.
So tell us about the funding for this piece of equipment, Pat. How is this funded for us?
This is partially funded by an EPA STAG grant.
With city matching funds?
Correct.
And to the tune of about, what's the dollar?
I believe we spent somewhere around $5.5, $6 million for the total project. This alone was running about $700,000.
Wow. So this generator powers this whole plant.
Correct.
For 24 hours.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you keep putting the diesel fuel in it.
Right.
And it was tested, and it did last for 4 days when we had no power in 2010.
Absolutely. Worked like a charm.
Worked like a charm.
Yep.
I think when we were here a few years ago, it was in place but hadn't been all hooked up. Do you recall?
Yes, it was in place, but had not been. The ancillary equipment that really powers this unit had not been hooked up yet. So it is all hooked up, ready to go.
How often do you folks test it to make sure that it's going to fire off when you need it?
We test it monthly, just fire it up, but we test it on a 6-month basis where we actually dump the power to the plant and run this for about 2 hours, make sure everything's okay.
Excellent. That's great. Let's go take a look and see what's inside.
Okay. As you can see, it's a very large generator. The front half here is the engine that drives the generator, and the generator itself is in this back portion here. As I said before, it produces 1.5 megawatts of power. Fully self-contained, so that the dBAs from this generator does not bother the neighborhood. This here is the control panel for the auxiliary equipment, the switchgear, and this control panel here controls the generator.
Pat, what are we going to look at next?
We're going to go in the digester building and take a look at the centrifuge, the boiler, and then up to the RDTs.
All right, let's go check it out.
All right. This here is the centrifuge, and this processes the solids off our digester. We're running about 2.5%. This centrifuge thickens it up to about 24% solids. And you can see it goes in the container here, and it goes out to the biosolids site out at the forestry, out at watershed. And the centrate that you see here flowing down, that is the water and the polymer waste from thickening this biosolids that goes back to our headworks to be processed again. So now let's go see the boiler.
Ooh, it's nice nice and warm in here, Pat.
Nice and warm.
This is your new boiler. Tell us about it.
Yes, we got this in same time we installed the generator, right around 2009, 2010. It replaced an existing boiler about half its size. This is a coal-fired boiler. It fires predominantly 95% of the time on the methane that we produce from our digesters. And the rest of the time, at our choice, we fired it on natural gas.
And this boiler heats this whole facility, correct?
That is correct. It's a hot water boiler, so we produce a lot of hot water and run it to all the buildings,
right.
Radiated heat.
Yeah, it's nice and toasty in here.
Very nice.
It's a very nice piece of equipment.
Yes, it is. It needed to be installed.
Great. What are we going to see next?
We're going to go up and see the rotating drum thickeners.
Awesome. Let's go.
All right.
Tell us again what this room is about. This is the drum.
This is the rotating drum thickeners. This is where we thicken our secondary biosolids, so to speak, that we remove or waste off from the secondary system. It flows here. We pump it to this site here. It flows into the flock tank where we mix, homogenize, or flock together with polymer. And then from there it goes into the drum thickener, right into the center of it. And there the water is separated from the solids to the edge, and the solids continue to flow down to the end. It starts out at about 1% solids, and at the end it's running about 5 to 6% solids.
Wow. So the actual drum inside is actually moving
Correct.
and pulling out the liquid.
Correct. It's a perforated drum,
right.
and they're tapered from large to small all the way down. And then as it moves in a centrifugal force, slowly, the water is shoved to the edge and then flows back into the waste stream back to the headworks. And the biosolids flow this way into the well, and then we pump it to the digesters for further treatment.
And this is a brand new addition to this facility as well, last couple of years.
Correct. All part of the STAG grant that we had talked about earlier.
Right. This, and there are two of the identical machines in this facility that do not run at the same time?
No, not normally. They're redundant. They can take up to 200 gallons per minute of waste-activated sludge. So we can process all of our day's inventory in approximately 4 to 5 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
And it's so clean, Pat. Everything is so very clean. I'd like the cameras to get a shot of the inside, because what this machine does, you'd never know, because it's really clean inside.
Yes, it is. The staff here takes very good care, very great pride in their operation.
Excellent. Great. So next we're going to go to the Eastside treatment plant and see what's going on very close to Lions Field.
Very well. That's where we're going.
Good. Welcome back to Inside Bremerton. So Pat and I have cruised across town, and we're very near our Lions Field, which is actually very beautiful, and if you haven't seen it, please check it out. Right now we're at the Eastside treatment plant, and this is very important to the city's water treatment, combined sewer overflow, extremely important to us. Tell us about this facility.
Yes. Shar, this facility was designed and built in 2001, and what it does, it eliminates overflows for the east side and relieves pressure on the sewer systems for the west side. It is a combined, our sewer system is a combined system, means both stormwater and sewer. And during periods of high rainfall, we used to overflow into the sound. That was nullified with the building of this plant here. So when during periods of high flow, the flow reverses, flows into this plant, into a storage chamber, and then enters into this plant where it's treated, it is disinfected with ultraviolet or UV, and then discharged into Port Washington Narrows.
In the month of March, we had huge amount of rainfall. that's when this facility would kick in, correct?
Absolutely. It ran March 15th and again on March 29th. We treated over both times combined a little over 500,000 gallons was treated through this treatment plant.
When it's not raining heavily, the combined sewer, the combined system goes to the west side.
Correct. It flows through a 16 and a 24-inch inverted siphon to the west side to our largest pump station, which is CE1, and then it pumps from there through the crosstown pipeline to the west side treatment plant.
So this facility is not as large as the one we just saw, but lots of mechanical things here. Huge generator that we're going to take a look, well, we'll see it, but the generator, and also chemicals and control room area.
Correct. It can treat a lot of flow for a small footprint. We can treat peak flows here of 20 million gallons. Average flow, we can treat up to 10 million gallons a day here. We use a flocculant and we use a coagulant and sand to bind the contaminants or the solids here. We use not a ferric chloride, but more like an aluminum chlorhydrate as our coagulant, and we use polymer again, which binds the sand with the contaminants flowing into here, settles it out, and it flows into the storage chamber until after the episode or the event is over, and then it flows to the west side plant. And then the clean effluent flows through the UV where it's disinfected and then discharged.
Wow.
Pretty amazing plant.
Pretty amazing for a little plant that really doesn't get a lot of action. Pat's staff comes in at least once a week, makes sure things are running smoothly, actually turns on the equipment, so the equipment works correctly.
Correct.
When it's necessary, it's going to start going.
Yeah, it's probably the hardest thing for this plant. We run probably around 10 times a year. It's not good to let equipment, especially motors and such, sit idle. So we come over here at least once a week, fire them up, let them heat up, and then shut them down, and then return to do it again.
Right, right. Just to make sure it works properly.
Absolutely.
Pat, I want to thank you for your tour today and updating us on your new equipment at the wastewater treatment plant and showing us the east side wastewater treatment plant, that's the main plant, and the east side treatment plant right above Lions Field. Did I get that right?
You did. And one thing I'd like to mention, because of this plant that went online in 2001, that in 2003, the Department of Health Shellfish Division opened up 1,500 acres of shellfish farming in Dyes Inlet, which is great.
Yeah, very, very cool. Have we had any episodes of combined sewer overflow?
Yes, we did. That occurred in 2011, when that was November 23rd, 2011, where we achieved 65 million gallons of flow through the west side plant. It was too much flow for the system. At that same time, we were having flows upward of 20 million gallons here. So you can see the whole system was inundated.
Maxed.
Yes,
Right.
It was above the design storm where these systems were designed around.
Wow. Pat, thanks so much for the tours today and for your hard work and your awesome staff of how many folks work with you at Wastewater?
16, including myself. You're absolutely correct, awesome staff.
They're awesome. They keep everything really shined up and very nice. And thanks for joining us on Inside Bremerton. Hope you enjoyed the update on the wastewater treatment plant. See you next time.